Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So today we're going to talk about electric cars and the feasibility for those as bug-out vehicles or post-collapse vehicles. So let's get into it. Alright, so before you go down to the comment section and start typing something about electromagnetic pulse, I'm fully aware of the electromagnetic pulse threat, particularly to electric vehicles. That's obvious. That's but one scenario. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. In fact, the likelihood that that's going to happen is very small. Could it happen? Absolutely, it could happen. Can you still protect your vehicle from that by making your garage into a Faraday cage? Yes. Is your vehicle still going to be fried if you're caught on the interstate? Well, it happens. Yes. So there's pros and cons. I'm well aware EMP is a threat. All right, so for the longest time, like I'm guessing the majority of you probably scoffed at the notion of using an electric vehicle or relying on one for a grid down situation. Obviously, runs on the grid, right? Well, we all know that gasoline runs out also, but we'll talk about the pros and cons in a minute. Now, this all changed the other day when in minus 30 temperatures, I seen a Tesla Model S driving down the road. And this really took me back because I never thought I would see this. And apparently it's quite common in Canada. There's several hundred, if not thousands, of Tesla owners in Canada, particularly on the prairies where it gets very cold. Because I always thought one of the major issues with having an electric vehicle, particularly for my bug out purposes, or even just as to rely on it as a grid down vehicle, was that it wouldn't function well in the cold. Now, Tesla does claim that their vehicles will show a 40% reduction in performance in terms of, battery efficiency, battery life, if run below minus 25 degrees Celsius. Actually, they say you shouldn't run it below minus 25 degrees Celsius, even though, like I said, people do drive them below that temperature. I don't know if that's going to do damage to the batteries in the long term or what the case might be. But we living in the prairies are a major exception to the rule. The 95% of people in North America don't live in the mainland. They live on the coastal areas where it would be very feasible. You wouldn't ever encounter that issue. So before we get into this, I just want to state that this is not a position I'm taking and I'm holding hard and fast to. This is something I'm researching, exploring, and I'm reaching out to you guys for feedback as to whether or not you think that this is a viable option for post-collapse transport. Now, there's three main benefits for electric vehicles that stand out for me. Number one, they're rechargeable. Yes, they require a lot of power. You're going to need a lot of solar panels to recharge a Tesla, probably more power than it's going to take to power your house, believe it or not. So that is one pro, and it's also a con at the same time. But you can't just make gasoline. I mean, you can, but you need an oil refinery, you need a way to extract the oil, you need all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be out of the question for the majority of people post-grid down. All right, so I have the Kodiak generator here for comparison. This is a 1.1 kilowatt hour battery. The batteries in electric vehicles can range from 25 kilowatt hours, so 25 times this, or even 70 kilowatt hours for the long range ones. So they require a lot of power. I should just say that the Kodiak, the K2, which I've done a video on, I'll post a link in the description, is still going to be on pre-sale until May 1st. So you can get $700 off the MSRP of that item if you use that Canadian Prepper coupon code. By far the best value that you're going to get for a solar generator and the best specifications as of early 2019. So clearly there's going to be some limitations with regards to charging an electric vehicle. So you're talking 25 times this. If you were to have to charge an electric car, and you're talking about something which is 50 to 70 times the size of this, how many solar panels are you gonna need? Well, I mean, you're gonna need to be charging in full sunlight for 12 hours a day. I would say if you could potentially put 2,500 watts into it continuously, then that would mean you're getting 2.5 kilowatt hours per hour times 12 hours a day if you're somewhere where there's like lots of really good sun. So this is ideal conditions, right? So you're maybe going to charge half of that 70 kilowatt hour battery. If you're lucky, if everything is right and the stars are aligned the right way, you're going to charge half of that battery in a day via solar. Granted, you have a 2500 watt input into those Tesla vehicles. Now, Tesla has a quick charge option, which is lightning fast. It's probably a lot more than that. Now, that said, that's to charge it from 0 to full. So 0 to full, that is going to be a lot of driving. That potentially would allow you to drive for weeks. I mean, you would have weeks to charge up that battery, so you wouldn't be trying to charge it up all in one day. So that's something to consider as well.
I just want to intervene into my own video here for a second, because there's another potential benefit of having this, and it's basically a storehouse for power. So you could use the power that's stored in your car to power a variety of things. That 50 to 100 kilowatt hour battery that you have in your vehicle could essentially be used to power everything in your house if there was a power outage. So it's basically a giant power supply on wheels.
There's going to be innovations made to overcome the power problem, even though these cars can already run fairly long distances. I mean, some of these Teslas with the 70 kilowatt hour battery packs can go 500-600 miles without a charge. Now, yes, do most vehicles look like giant vaginas on wheels? Absolutely. I agree with you there. There's not a whole lot of options for the tactical factor for the prepper, but there are a lot of cool gray man options, and you can get the four-wheel drive options, the dual motor options. I think it costs a bit more, and of course it's going to be a little less energy efficient. The second thing is the induction motor is just a better motor. It's the motor of the future. So the induction motor has that torque which is available right from the get-go. So it has a lot of power, massive acceleration, which is just going to, get you out of bad situations potentially. And the low maintenance factor. There's no oil to change. Basically, all you need is the batteries and the car itself. So incredibly low maintenance. Now, another one of the benefits of an electric vehicle when it comes to SHTF is the stealth factor. The fact that you can sneak in and out of an area without making a whole lot of noise. With a motor vehicle, especially like a truck or something like that, you can hear those things for miles, especially in the dead of night when there's not a lot of noise. When I do camping, like I can hear vehicles, from highways miles and miles away, and you can hear it with, pretty good clarity. So you wouldn't be able to be that discreet with a gas-powered engine, a combustion engine, in a collapse situation. So I don't think that gets enough attention and credit for its ability to be silent, zippy, and rechargeable. And of course, low maintenance. Now, to go to the flip side of this, obviously we know some of the cons are the cold factor. They look like giant vaginas. Also, people are going to comment on the lifetime of the batteries. Now, the batteries that most of these electronic vehicles use are 18650 batteries, just daisy chained together. In some cases, thousands of these batteries are chained together in a series in order to create the amount of power that you need to power the vehicle. And the reason why they use 18650 batteries is for heat control, because a big giant battery would just get too hot, whereas the little ones don't require as much thermal management. So you can actually replace the batteries if you have a stockpile of batteries on hand. Now, 18650 batteries are very expensive. That's another downside. Now, based on the research I've done, after 100,000 miles of driving, the battery is going to degrade to 70 to 85% of its original capacity. So what that means is that you may lose 15 to 30% efficiency. Your battery is still going to function for a long time. It's just not going to be able to store as much power as it used to store. So 100,000 miles, especially if you're talking long-term SHTF, you'd be lucky to put that on any vehicle. I mean, that's like 5 years of regular driving normally. For most combustion engine vehicles, the gas is going to run out long before you're able to drive that far. So all I can say is that my interest in electric vehicles has been piqued as of late, because I just think we need to take a second look at this, whether or not it's going to be a viable option. Because not only is it the future and there's going to be more and more options coming on the market, the price is going to continue to come down as lithium mining becomes more ubiquitous and the batteries become cheaper. That's basically the only restricting factor at this point. The technology is there. The technology has proven to be superior in pretty much every possible way. Now, in many ways, the electric vehicle, and I gotta be quiet because I don't want All American Prepper to hear me say this, is that it may actually be the ideal prepping vehicle, but people just are resistant to the idea for traditional reasons and not really rational reasons. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section about this. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this YouTube channel is to support yourself by gearing up through CanadianPreparedness.com or BugoutRoll.ca. Premium quality gear at the best possible price using the incredibly secure and easy to use Shopify platform. We offer free shipping to the United States for orders over $200 USD and free shipping to Canada over $75. So support the channel by supporting yourself.